Another CNG car today. That is the Ertiga CNG. Today we're going to see how it differentiates itself from the regular Ertiga, what features it shares with the top-end Ertiga, and what it's like to drive. We're also going to see the difference between its performance both on petrol and on CNG power. And we're going to have finally one exciting test to illustrate that difference, well, if there is any. So here's 5 things you must know about the Maruti Suzuki Ertiga CNG. So not too much has changed on the new Ertiga. There is of course this new grille design. On the boot lid there's one small chrome strip and you have a new dual tone alloy design. But the only thing differentiating this from the regular Ertiga is of course those CNG stickers on the front and the rear windscreens.
The interiors too are largely the same except for a few small changes.
So in terms of infotainment, you don't get SmartPlay Pro, which is the top spec of Suzuki's infotainment. You do get SmartPlay Studio however. And there are some other features as well that are missing in this CNG car, and we'll have one pop out with all of them listed there. So this being the top spec CNG car, you do get a lot of features that the ZXi Plus Ertiga gets as well. So Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you get the fully loaded Suzuki Connect connected car tech and 6-speaker audio system as well.
Other features that the CNG cars share are dual tone alloys, rear washer wiper, chrome door handles, fog lamps and auto AC.
Before we move on to the driving experience, I'm going to start up the Ertiga CNG first. So it's running now, you can barely hear the car. Of course it starts up on petrol like most CNGs except for Tata's. And you just heard it switch to CNG there if the camera picked that switch up. So there's only a slight difference in the engine note when you switch between CNG and petrol, and that's just at idle with the AC turned off. With the AC on and even with the blower set to just 1, there's barely any change in that engine note. So nice and refined, and well, no really difference between CNG or petrol at idle. Now onto the driving experience, and we'll see how that changes if it does. So driving impressions of the Ertiga CNG. Let's just start off with the stuff that's common. So nice refined 4-cylinder engine. Yes, it doesn't have the smart hybrid tech attached onto that engine, but like most Maruti 4-cylinders, this is nice and refined. Gears slotting easy, don't need to make too many gear shifts, so the drivability is great both in the city and on the highway. Visibility out of this large windscreen, large windows is great, so that's another plus point in the city. Another thing that's added to the Ertiga CNG is a colored driver's display with a few additional modes for CNG. So there's one mode that tells you how much you've been using CNG compared to petrol, and one to show you how much CNG is left in your CNG tank. What would have helped though is a mileage calculator, both for mileage on petrol as well as mileage on CNG. As it is now, there is no kilometer per litre or kilometer per kg display counter for you. You'll need to do those calculations on your own. When we spoke about the Nios, the Tigor and the Tiago CNG cars, we did notice that there was a slight difference, very imperceivable difference between CNG and petrol power when you're driving in the city, be it for quick overtakes, closing a gap on traffic, or overtakes on the highway. With this larger 1.5 engine though, that difference is even smaller. So switching between petrol and CNG doesn't really make a difference. Now we've tried that with 2 up, 3 up an incline as well, and you can't really tell much of a difference well from the seat of your pants. So time then for our test figures to tell us if there is a difference or not. And yes, as you can see from these figures, in outright acceleration from 0 to 100 kmph, there is a difference of about 2 seconds, well, close to 2 seconds, but that's a test of outright performance. What's more telling for the real world while driving in the city or on the highway is in gear acceleration. There is very little difference, less than a second in both instances. But these figures are of course with the same car tested in ideal conditions. We'll also add in the Ertiga Petrol figures, well, the regular Ertiga figures, which adds the benefit of that smart hybrid system as well as loses the weight of the CNG tank. And now, as promised, we're going to do a small little test to see if there's really any difference in the real world, or at least what we can simulate to be real world conditions.
Our test is simple. We'll start from a standstill, accelerate uphill to a cone about 100 to 150 meters away, pull a tight U-turn and accelerate back to the start-finish line. We'll do this test on petrol and CNG modes with just me driving. As well as fully loaded with everyone we could snag from our office on their lunch break. And if they aren't smiling, it's cause they thought they were going to be taken for a free lunch. And these are the final results. There was just a small gap when there was no load in the car. And with petrol power spinning up off the line with the heavier load, it actually was a little slower than the CNG mode with the same load. So the takeaway? Barely any difference with the bigger 1.5 litre petrol motor.
So the Ertiga CNG is priced about $1 lakh over its comparative petrol manual variant, and that's an amount that you could recover in 2 or 2.5 years worth of driving. But that's with current CNG prices. Just to give you a reference, we've tested a couple of CNG cars over the last 2 months and we've seen a price jump of almost 10 rupees. And just a year ago, CNG was 32 rupees less expensive than it is now. With current rates, I'm talking about 83 rupees per kilometer today. So that's something you would need to figure into your calculations. In terms of features and practicality, it packs in a lot. And it also packs in a lot of people. So it's a great choice if you want to do like maybe carpool runs to the office or big family trips on the weekend. And as we've seen from that little experiment we did, it doesn't compromise on drivability, especially when it's fully loaded. So something you could definitely think about.